So let's continue our discussion, which is kind of always my favorite subject, which is shamanism and mysticism and all things magical. Um, and I really enjoyed my experience of listening to Neville Goddard's the recorded lectures, um, because I could hear it in his own voice, and I could instead of there's a whole bunch of law of attraction manifestation videos that become very popular and made other people a lot of money. One of them is going vertical, you know, and they just can't drop the God concept. So a lot of people can't drop the symbols. They take them personal, and then put it out there as universal truth and this is the way. So people manifest stuff and then be like, thank God or thank Jesus, or and there's like a religious stamp of approval put on it. Um, and this is like polarity. This is like there is a right way and there is a wrong way. And now that I'm doing it the right way, my life is perfect. And we don't really know, you know, how perfect it is and what's really going for them. And a lot of things, when you listen to the manifestation stories of people who've applied maybe a manifestation formula, you see something else going on as well that's not really talked about in praise of the videos and the principles. Is the person, one, kind of already naturally set themselves up for that position? They might be a high powered lawyer that's really put in years of work. And so when they apply the principles of law of attraction and win a case and get a huge sum of money, uh, we tend to forget, wait a minute, they spent how many years in law school? And they just happened to be at the right place at the right time? Would it happen to be the right case? No. There was a lot of real practicality. And so it's kind of like with love bombing, you know, they'll like love bomb the formula. They'll love bomb God. They'll love bomb uh, their own tapping into their own knowing and creativity. And then the average person who hasn't gone to law school, who hasn't put in the time, the work to acquire skill, to be positioned in the game of life, to have that ground set up, that windfall of what some people might consider a miracle, that's not how it works. And so we can't discount the ordinary. We can't discount the skills built needed to provide the service in the first place. And we can't also discount their level of intelligence to really grasp the principles, their attitude. And so I'm just kind of throwing it out there that yes, these principles work, but the way these two great, I would say, giants uh, of law of attraction and spirituality have come forward for us in this time, it's also been presented all the time. You just have to have eyes to see it. You have to have you have to have I like to, a critical eye, a discerning eye. That part of you that's negative, that really could be very the opposite of faith and trust. It's like, wait a minute, let's pull back a little bit. Let's maintain our, let's keep our excitement under wraps. And we can use the negative to then draw forth the positive. So your criticism, your atheist attitude, your scientific approach, your practical, when paired with that inner knowing, that optimism, that something pulling you forward intuitively, when they come together, you see the full picture. And so then you get clear sight. You get your yin and your yang. You get the paradox uh, of being able to apply this, your Batman perspective. Uh, it's valuable. So what goes on in like religion, what goes on into New Age culture and spirituality is you need more faith, you need more love, you need more trust, you need more surrender. Yes, but if you really want to master it and understand it and be grounded in it into practical ways, if you want to be the wizard of it, you also bring in discernment. You also bring in practicality. You bring in effort. You bring in work. So you study it. You understand the formula, and you apply it. So you don't need to throw away the scientist. You don't need to throw away Western medicine. You don't. There is not a yes boat and a no boat. It's not a we're the right ones and you're the wrong ones. It's not this polarity, but it's unity and neutrality. So part of neutrality is unity. It's learning how to use a rake and a shovel. It's in the appropriately. So you can have a powerful, wonderful moment, and then you can also self reflect on it and go, wait a minute, let's look at the principle, let's look at the setup. And you're going to find out it's not like manna falling from heaven. It's not like these biblical tales. There was, oh, I just so happened to take a class at university. So here's a good example. I'll just use my own story. I was naturally an artist, and I thought the human form was pretty much my subject matter. So I wanted to become better at it. So I thought taking martial arts, uh, well, would help me move in my body and understand the human form. While I was doing martial arts, my sister would get injured. I'd, massage out a sore shoulder. Come to find out, I was a natural at massage. Like, I didn't even need schooling for it. I just naturally was good at massage. And I was like, massage really isn't my thing, but art is my thing. So if I go to massage school, well, then I'll really get a grasp of anatomy. I mean, I read Gray's anatomy book. That thing's old, and I really can't apply it very well to art, but I bet I could really get a grasp of it if I was a massage therapist. Plus, I can learn more about energy and martial arts through the meridians. Because when you open up a book, you're gonna try to read and master uh, Asian healing modalities, energy arts for combat. I'm gonna do it all myself. You might need to go to school. So I went to school. It ended up being a win-win because I used a natural talent that I discovered through martial arts. And then it was going to help me as an artist, my favorite subject matter, human forms, figures. And then it was also going to help me with spirituality, with energy manipulation. So, and then after that, I ended up going, well, you know what? I'm done with martial arts. You know, the whole point isn't fighting and blocking, because I'm way over that. I think healing arts, and I think spirituality. Like, where is the spirituality in martial arts? Where is the spirituality in yoga? So there was this undercurrent of I want to put the soul and spirit back into all these traditions that I feel they've been lost. Like, we got the outer forms of it, but where's the spirit of it? It seems like money and degrees and love, like degrees and black belts, like these little achievement benchmarks, we kind of miss the essence of the spirit of martial arts. We lose the essence of yoga. We lose the essence of massage therapy. We lose the essence. Why are we losing the essence? What's going on? So there was this underlying essence that I wanted to be revitalized. So you gain all this experience, you go to school, gain all this practical knowledge, and then you get to apply it. So it was easy. I was able to do massage for like 20 years, enjoyed the experience, and had So I did use the law of attraction to pass the state and national test. So, I was afraid of tests, afraid of schooling, had bad experiences. So I decided I was just going to tell everyone I already passed. This was like early 90s, okay? I didn't listen to any law of attraction stuff. I was just like, you know what? If everyone believes I passed the test, then that group thinking, that assumption is going to help me pass the test. And if I said I passed the test, then there must be some type of neurological thing going on with my subconscious and my words. And guess what? I passed the test. I got really high scores. I was the first person like in our whole entire school to pass the national test. And it was also that year it became required. So then the next year everyone was going to have to take it. So I kind of was ahead of the game passing the test, and then it helped prove to me that yes, you don't need to be afraid of school. You don't need to be afraid of test taking. What you need is more self-assurance, and you need to back it up. Now, besides that, I also went home, read 2 books written by one of the ladies who wrote the test for the national, state, and board exam, whatever. And so I spent a couple months reading. And so once again, I used the law of attraction formula in my own way. Before all this came out and I knew what it was, I go, let's just pretend you're like a college student. You dropped out of college because you're so don't like systemized learning and you're afraid of it. And all those beliefs came back. You're a failure. You're dyslexic. You can't, I was like, let's just stop that. Whether it's true or not, let's not even worry about it. Let's just set up a little table in your room. Let's just actually pretend you like reading. Let's pretend you like to study. Let's pretend this is you. And I go, what would a college student do? I'm like, well, we would probably look at the chapter, look at keywords, and we might even, and I was really afraid of this test. I had no idea what was going to go on in it. And when I started reading these 2 manuals that we didn't have in our school, I was like, where were you in school? You got so distracted with all these different healing modalities that you had to learn. You got distracted with all the social stuff. There was a lot of dynamics just arriving to school, and then there was just so much going on. I was like, I didn't learn anything in school. So reading those books was an eye opener. I was like, this is what I was supposed to learn in anatomy. This is what I was supposed to learn in this massage style or this Asian style. Those were the meridians. Oh, this is how the 5 elements work. So it was like enlightening how much I missed. Actually, I'm like, why did I pay all that much money when I was so distracted as like a 20-year-old in massage school? So I was like, oh my goodness. So I would read, take the little tests in the chapters, but I made up my own test and I made up my own questions and then I hunted for them. And so I literally put myself in my own version of massage school for 2 months. Then I went and took the test and I passed it. So besides using those principles I used the principles of law of attraction. I told people to pass the test, so I assumed it. Then I stepped into the role of the character. I became the student, and I did the doing part of it as well. Bashar emphasizes the doing it. And so I applied all those things, and it was inevitable that was going to happen. I really wasn't thinking, now I'm the director of the movie called My Life. But when you really think about it, it's true. I knew what I wanted, so my intention, my goal was clear. I was excited, but not so excited, you know? Um, but I really wanted it, and I was willing to do the work. So this is like might be a key for someone. You know you're excited and it's authentic if you're willing to do the work. You know you really want to hang out with that person if you're willing to make the phone call, if you're willing to invest the time and the energy and the resources. You are actually casting your vote. It's reflecting back to you what you really desire. So it happened, and I had a wonderful experience through the massage experience. And when it was over, it was over. Um, so I'm just saying, we're applying the principles, and they don't have to come in a mystical way. They can be very practical. I didn't have like really too many visions of the whole thing. I actually did have like a vision of the books I was going to get to study with. Because I was like, maybe I had a feeling that I should probably read a couple books. Maybe like a, I was looking at all of my massage books, and I was looking at all my tests that I took in class and all my notes. And I was like, this isn't going to help me pass the national test. I'm like, maybe I need like a manual that. So I had a vision of two books, and I think I even got the name of the person who wrote it. And then I looked online. There was just so happened to be the anatomy physiology book and the massage practical, and it was written by the person. And I was like, wait a minute, because I thought I was just gonna need the massage book. And then, but in my vision, I saw two books. So I also got the anatomy physiology. Turns out the whole test was written in the form of anatomy and physiology questions to test you on massage knowledge and know how. So without the anatomy and physiology, I wouldn't have understood the questions well enough to pass the test. So it turned out both books were perfect, and I read them both and took, and so yeah, there was that intuitive um, talking to that intuitive level, that fifth dimensional level was there. Signs and synchronicities, kinda, but it wasn't like a lifestyle. It wasn't like I'm adjusting my vibration and I'm looking at 333 and 444 and angels in the sky. It was a lot more subtle and more practical. It was like, well, I did see two books in my mind, and these ones are on sale, and they are the last two copies. I better just go for it, you know. Uh, so it's just kind of like having the courage and the self confidence to go into the unknown, to break through the mirror of illusions of what I was currently believing and experiencing in myself, and allowing myself to go through the transformation. So Neville Goddard talks about the bridge of incidents, and it could be some very unrelated things coming together, which puts you in the right position for the outcome. So I really wasn't paying attention of the bridge of incidents, and I really wasn't paying attention to the transformation. But in retrospect, in hindsight, you can put it all together and see that on an intuitive level, I knew exactly what I was doing. I was coming from that place of inner knowing. So it wasn't like I was sitting down and meditating and mastering the present moment. I was going on a hunch. I was going on to what creatively, intuitively felt right. And I was trusting myself. But so I call it experimental mind. It's easy for me to drop expectation and let things go if I view it as an experiment. If I'm willing to take the loss and I'm willing to take the win. Like either way, I will either I'll either pass or I won't. So I wasn't too worried about it, and I passed. So for me, it was like monumental. You know, like that was the Olympics. For someone else, that test was maybe super easy. You know, maybe they were good at studying and they learned how to study. But at that point in my life, I didn't know. Uh, And what's really weird is the actual desire to be a massage therapist wasn't the so strong in me. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta be a massage therapist. This is my life calling. And now, like, 20 plus years later, I'm like, that was a great experience. I know it wasn't exactly my life calling. And I know everyone who received a massage from me got a really wonderful, high level, you know, 5-star massage. But that's not my true passion in life. And I know in retrospect, that's just me. Oh, I feel like a lot of my jobs have been me just paying off karma. You know, I used to think, it's just me of service, but it's also me learning. So it's me learning how to interact. So it's always a win win. It's like as I give these gifts to the world gifts me with the experience of them. So what did I need more experience of is more interactions, more close interactions with people. So it ended up being massage therapy. I also did psychic readings for a long time. So I needed more interactions with people sharing their issues and me helping them problem solve. Uh, and so there is a dynamic win win that happens when you're following your truth and following your bliss. And so the principles in Neville's work, the principles in Darryl slash Bashar's work are really simple. And it's basically the more authentic you are, the more you follow your excitement. And like that word excitement and bliss and happiness don't really resonate with me. What really resonates with me is what compels you, what fascinates you, what grabs your attention, what do you get obsessed about, you know, like that you just can't let it go. That is equal to following your bliss, your excitement, and your passion. So, and the more authentic you are, the more in alignment you are, the more you're going to be in synchronicity, the more doors are going to open up for you because now you're actually listening to what the writer of the play wanted you to play. And you're now listening to the director. Like you're listening and you're now in sync with them and you're fulfilling the vision of your multidimensional self, the one who writes and directs the story of your life. So that was kind of long, but it helps you understand both of these people are sharing principles that just work, whether you view it. So the language is different. Bashar's language is through the entity, this alien entity who's living at a multi-dimensional level. But this isn't new stuff. If you've ever watched the series Dawn that came out once on TV way back in the 90s, this storyline is almost identical. But it is creative and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the format the message is being delivered. Can you read between the lines and get the formula? Can you read between the lines? So we all have stories, and basically our stories aren't true. We don't really know the history of Atlantis. We don't really know the intentions and the agenda of aliens. We do know that all of our ancient ancestors believed in star people, star nation, beings from stars coming down and visiting and sharing with the world. They could all be legends. Does it matter? No. What it offers is a hope of evolution. What it offers is something to look forward to. Like it gives you an ideal image to go for. And, it created the gods for us. All the gods were beings of heavenly realms or the stars. So, but we don't have to take it literal. I think this is where people get stuck. They might get stuck in wanting alien visitations and all this stuff. That's great and all. I'm not saying don't have it, but realize, uh, are you really there for law of attraction, or are you really there for the shaman mystical experience? And it could be both, but they don't have to go together. You can just take the principles and apply them to your life, or you can put them together, or you can just take the mystic and leave out the logic and reason. It may or may not work for you, but I'm letting you know we have a heritage of westernized shamans. You just may not be recognizing them, even though they're right in front of your face. You know, they're not wearing leaves, they're not shaking rattles, you're not um, displaced into a tropical jungle. There's no animal sacrifices, there's no plant medicine. It's coming to you through story, it's coming through their own interpretation of their own investigations into their own mind and their own spiritual abilities that have opened up. Spiritual ability could just mean any ability that is not mundane. Doesn't mean it's not part of the mundane world. You know, intuition has always been with humanity. You don't need to label it spiritual, it's normal. So being multidimensional is just another word for becoming more of who you are. You know, being so a spiritual awakening is necessary to go to the next level with these type of teachers, but you don't need to feel like you're not there because those doors may not open for you. Take the principles, apply them to your life at whatever level you are, and you're not missing anything because they're going to work for everyone, and they're also going to give you exactly what you need at your level of the journey. So this is where you can say, I don't subscribe to certain definitions. So, Neville, I'm not Christian. So the Christian and biblical stuff isn't something I subscribe to, but I don't reject it into polarity saying right or wrong, good or bad, this is me, that is you. I say, this is myth, these are the symbols, how can I apply it? Take it and run. So I create what's called praxis, which is whatever conditioning stuff you can't get out of yourself, you make it work for you instead of against you. Instead of it being a doorstop, it's a door opener. So yes, I've had alien experiences ever since I was little. Doesn't mean I want to be a part of a hybridization and the storyline that Bashar is giving me. I say no. I go, really, all I want from the Bashar experience is the practical tools, which comes in the form of basic new language, multidimensionality, different perspectives, projection, understanding how that works to create my life. That was just another perspective to understand the simplified terms of I am the writer, the director, the producer, the audience, the actors of my story. And so you're not learning new information, it's just coming to you through a new stylization. Whatever works for you will work. Whatever type of language to have you get the universal truth that has always been here, the secret of the ages, great. And it empowers you, gives you freedom, helps you get out of your own way, helps you co-create your reality. Because we all just want a better life. So as Bashar would say, what's your permission slip? Is it God's, angels, and prayer? Is it meditation, Buddhas, and rituals, and chants, and full moons, and following the stars? Is it numbers, signs, and symbols? Is it aliens and new tech a new science language infused into um, the dead New Age movement. Whatever it is, use it. Because what works for your mind, what works for you to help you understand the easiest way, not let's change. So you don't need to change yourself to get everything you want out of Bashar's experience. You don't need to change yourself to understand Neville. You don't need to adopt that stuff. You don't need to you don't need to absorb it like that, but you can relate it to what you know. You know, you're like, oh, I'm the chef. I'm also the recipe. I'm the ingredients. I'm the cook. Like, I'm the oven. I am the cake. I'm also the people eating it and enjoying it. I'm playing all the parts. That might do it for you. Um, so you don't need to overpower the myth. You don't need to overpower the dogma. You need to just get the principles and apply them. Um, it's not a therapy session. So I really feel like both um, both of these shamans are telling you, stop making it therapy. Stop making it religion. Stop making it a belief system. Stop forcing yourself into these ideologies. You're not broken. You're not mad. You're not cursed. You just need to apply the principles um, to have a successful experience. You get to choose. So that's really all I'm saying with these two videos on really understanding Neville and Darryl / Bashar. Um, but I'm also really stressing these are shamans. So if you're not a shaman, you may not get all of it. Don't discount it. If you're not one of these type of shamans, you don't have to be because they're coming back from their mystical adventures. They're coming back from the places that they go and they're sharing the knowledge. So this is what wizards and shamans do. They move into other universes and the artist, and they bring back the gifts to evolve this dimension, this earth, this whatever you want to call it. You don't have to be that to understand it. You don't have to go to these other worlds to get the full. You just need to take the material, the gifts that they offered you. So both of them, that's, they've maybe mined inner resources. We don't know if it's all hallucinating. We don't know if it's all from the inner universe that we call mind. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. If you can use the principles, use them. But don't make